Junkies, talking a little high school basketball. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer here from Sports Radio 105.7 The Fan in Milwaukee, coast of the weekday afternoon show, The Big Show from 2 until 6. He is Gary Wolford at the other end of the table from the Racine Journal-Times. In the middle, Steve Jaskulske, of course, the head coach at Racine Case.
Sounds like the introduction to your starting lineup. In the middle.
Right, in the middle, right.
6'7", Steve Jaskulske.
Can any of us still play, though?
Well, you can play. I never could play.
No. Let's talk a little bit about the Southeast Conference to start things off a little bit. Every year, at least for the last several years, as long as I can remember, the Southeast Conference has been dominated pretty much by the Racine teams. Oak Creek has its time where it's there and they're in the playoffs and so forth, but mainly it's the Southeast Conference is the Racine schools. Go to football, maybe it's the other way around. Any idea why that is?
We've had a good run and we've had good players. I mean, you can dress it up any way you want. If you got the players, you have the talent to win.
So you're saying the coaching isn't?
I guess we can take a little bit of credit, but we've had a good run of guys come through. I mean, make no mistake about it. That's really there's some good coaching in the Southeast Conference. It's just that Case has had the better players.
It's funny because you look at the football side of things. And you say, okay, well, because there's 3 schools, that's really hurting the football side because you need so many guys from a football perspective.
Exactly, yeah.
Basketball, you don't need as many guys. And in basketball, if you have a star or 2, just like in the NBA or college basketball, it's easier to build around those guys. And that's pretty much where it comes to is you guys have more of those star-type players, those college-type players in the basketball side.
Racine has had a lot of good basketball players over the years. And, we just there's enough to go around, I guess, at most of the schools. So they tend to come and go at different schools, but we always have a good crop of kids. I mean, we have a really good freshman team this year, and our freshman team last year, which are sophomores, were undefeated.
I was going to say they were really good.
So we have right now we have 50 kids in the program, which is really good. Plus we had to cut probably 40, 50 kids. We had over 100 kids come off for basketball.
Are you kidding?
100?
So
holy.
I guess our success breeds more success. But I know Park and Horlick. I mean, Horlick just knocked us off the other night. They have a good program going on. Park's got a good young team coming up, and so there's enough. And the private schools seem to be competitive every year. So Racine is blessed with a lot of good basketball players. So. Just keep coming.
Yeah.
I got to check out the back of your sweater here. I don't see any bullseye on there, though. It seems like every time your team walks into a gym, they're out to get you. You had a streak of 2 straight years of not only winning the Southeast Conference, but going undefeated, and that came to an end the other night against Horlick.
Yeah.
What does it feel? I mean, you're going to get your best shot from teams.
And it'll still continue. I mean, even though we lost one, we still are, in the thick of things, so... the other teams are catching us too. Oak Creek is Mike Josie over there. He's got a nice young group of guys. He's a good coach. He's coming up. Horlick obviously has caught us. The Kenosha Indian Trail School is undefeated in the conference. So, I mean, they're teams that are getting better. And we don't have the depth on our team this year that we had last year. So. We're coming off the bench with 10th graders this year, and they're good, but they just don't have a lot of experience.
Is there, I don't know, is it difficult when you're dealing with high schoolers that have gone that long with so much success to keep them motivated game in and game out, to make them believe, look, you can't just roll out the basketball and just go beat everybody?
Right. Well, winning the conference is obviously something that you try to do during the season, but I think the carrot that keeps them going is the state, and we've just fallen a little bit short last couple of years, and it's just been so
You want to talk about that too, and how only one team from this region gets to say it? We've addressed that in our columns over the years. Yeah, it's a joke.
Yeah, it's when they let 19 other teams go to state, and they only pick one team from this whole area, Division I. And we could go there and probably beat 15 of the teams that are there by 30 points or more, and if they want to call that fair, well, then that's their thing. But I don't see it. Brook Central was 24-0 last year. They got knocked out by King. We went double overtime with King. West Allis Central had a really nice team last year. I mean, there were 4 or 5 teams that really could have had at least 2 spots up there.
Do you think that, you'll ever see the WIAA change its mind on that? It seems like they're really
Well, I'd like to see them,
set in
if they
stone
want to
this.
keep the 5 divisions, that's fine, but I think they should find a way to get 8 teams up there, maybe start a day earlier, play games at the field house on a Wednesday, or whatever they could do to get the 8 D1s up there, because a lot of coaches and people want to see the 8 teams up there. They want to see that first day when the quarterfinals for D1.
See, but I don't know about that. And this is my opinion, doing talk radio and talking to a bunch of these different guys, okay? My opinion is, majority of the state doesn't want to see Milwaukee, Racine, and Kenosha represented up at state. They don't want to deal with those teams up there because those other teams from around the state that are coming in, they know what they're up against. And the less teams that they have to face from down the southeast corner of the state, the better chance they have of winning state. In my opinion, that's what this is all about. Just trying to make sure you can keep them there. And the other part of this is, at least from what I've been told over the years, is, well, we don't travel as well to Madison.
Right.
You know, they get buses coming from all over Wisconsin for these other smaller schools.
Right.
But if Case or Horlick or somebody else goes up there, how many people are going to go to Madison and actually support that basketball team?
2005, we went there and we sent 17 or 18 buses of kids.
So that's awesome.
So, I mean, you know, to say that we don't travel well, I mean, that's not right. I mean,
Right.
the Racine schools, I know for the Racine schools, they'd be excited, the kids are excited about going, and
When Horlick was up there,
Definitely.
they had a ton of
Right,
people, you know, with
exactly.
Jameel Wilson's
So,
team, you know, so.
yeah.
Hey, just getting back to your team, the other night you played Horlick. Horlick to me is a really an intriguing team. They got some nice pieces, and Jason does a good job of having them play hard. What impressed you most about Horlick in your game the other night?
well, they've got a core group of guys that have been together now for a couple of years, and they play well together, and they've got some real quick guards and some good shooters. They lack a little bit of size inside, which we thought we could exploit. Unfortunately, we missed a lot of easy shots in the first half that we should have made, and you know, I mean, give credit to Horlick that they got us, but we think that, you know, we have a little bit more inside than they do, and we have good guards. So
Well, you know, the other thing too, Steve, is you played at Horlick, #1.
right.
And they beat you by 5 points. It wasn't like it was a convincing knockout. I mean,
No, but our
it's-
first half was horrible. We were down
Yeah.
14 points at half, and our second quarter was one of the worst that I've seen, and it just happens. I mean, we
Yeah.
Sure.
weren't happy about it. We let them know at halftime we weren't happy about it, and we were respectable in the second half. But you know, Woods is a good player, and he made all his free throws at the end, and give them credit. They beat us, and we move on to the next game.
When you talk about high school basketball, at least in the area, it seems to me those high schools that have skilled size inside normally are the ones that you're going to see up at state on a year-to-year basis for the most part. If you've got a good skilled big man, going all the way back to Butch or Diamond Stone or Fisher or whoever you want to talk about,
Exactly.
if you have that big guy inside, you can go as far as anybody else. Where in college basketball, it doesn't seem like that. In college basketball, it seems to go, you go as far as your guards
Guard-oriented,
go.
exactly.
And I wonder why it's so different in high school.
Well, I mean, in high school, a three-point shot is 35% best, and you know, we take a look at a kid like King or Desmond Kirby, and they get the ball inside. I mean, that should be a 95%
Sure.
shot. So we'll take, over the long term of a game, we take a lot more inside shots than outside shots, and probably come out okay, unless the team's really hot on a given night.
Right.
You know.
And that's really what it comes down to, too. A lot of times, and you don't maybe face that as much with Park or Horlick, but a lot of times you get to the playoffs or the state, and these teams just slow it down and pound the air out of the basketball.
Yeah.
Everybody always talks about shot clock. Everybody always talks about get rid of the quarters, go to halves instead of quarters. Would you want to see any changes to the way the game was
I'd
played?
like to see the 19 or 18-minute halves,
That's what you want to
because
see.
that would get more of our kids in the game, be a little bit longer game, get more of your 9/10 guys in the game, and you know, get a little bit more action, a little bit more competitiveness, maybe get up and down the floor more, like you said, so that teams can't run more time off the clock, and,
Sure.
and that, you know, rather than a shot clock, I think the shot clock is really kind of a, you know, they have to buy the shot clock, find somebody to run the shot clock. I mean, that's really a lot of the school's concern.
I agree, it's
Yeah.
expensive.
Right.
But at the same time, I would like to see high school go to a minute shot clock.
Okay.
Because you're playing a team this week, Oak Creek, that is just going to take the air out of the ball. And I don't know, maybe in the 50s, 40s, that was fine, but It seems
Well, look
like
at Dick Bennett with the Badgers. I mean, that's how they got to the Final Four. They didn't have as good of athletes as the teams they faced. That Arizona team was loaded with NBA guys that they faced on the way to the Final Four, and they did it that way. So if Oak Creek comes up against Case, and they're not loaded with the athletes of Cases, how are you going to win? You have to outshoot them and slow it down to minimize the possession.
But if you 1 minute is plenty.
Oh, sure.
I mean, you
That's a long time.
The NBA is 24 seconds. What is the college clock? 35.
Yeah.
So I mean, if they went to a minute, that's almost twice as much as the college. I mean, that's plenty of time.
I might even, if you're really going to have the shot clock, I'd go down to maybe 40 seconds or,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
not a minute.
That's long, too.
Yeah.
That would kill you guys.
Yeah, that's still a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time.
For teams like yours, yes.
You'll each get like a couple possessions a quarter if you had to do it that way. Coach, thanks a lot for coming in, man. Appreciate it. And I'm sure we'll see you in the playoffs like always.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for
You
coming.
betcha.
Thanks.
There is Steve Jaskulske, the head coach at Racine Case, here on Sports Junkies at RacineSportsZone.com.